Last time we finished Surah Al Imran. And when we say we finished Surah Al Imran, it is just an insight. I want it to be clear. Like, we did not even reach the start of the tafsir. To be honest and clear. When we say we finished the surah, that means it is now your responsibility to dig deeply, to get into the surah and to start using the methodology that we talked about. Should we go back to the methodology? What is the methodology that we said? Okay, give me some points. Khalid متابع كويس. The first thing, quickly. First thing, name of the surah. Name of the surah means you cannot get into the surah without knowing the name of the surah and what it means and where is the connection. You have to make the connection. The surah name has to do with something inside the surah. Except we said surah. Except surah what? لا الرحمن أول شيء الرحمن علم القرآن. الفاتحة. The name is not mentioned in the surah. But the name is actually very deep. Gives you the indication of what is the surah all about. The opener. Huh? Allah yarda alayk. So, name of the surah. And we make the connection. Second thing, with the methodology, what is that? To know that the surah is Makki or Madani. That would give you an indication of that when you know the surah is Makki surah or Madani surah. First, we have to be clear and we have to agree that the Makki surah, what was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ before the hijrah, the migration. And the Madani surah, what was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ after the migration. Is to be focused. What else? Madani Makki give you an indication of the main topics that the surah would actually speak about in general. Okay? Makki, you would find a lot of Ya Ayyuhan Nas. There is some common words. Ya Ayyuhan Nas. You would have like a short verses, ayahs. In general. I'm speaking in general. And you will find the topics of what? Of the aqidah. Of the creed, of the faith itself. The foundation, the principles. The main foundation of Islam, of the faith. Believing in Allah and the angels and the books and the prophets and the hereafter and the Jannah and the hellfire. All these main components of our faith that we should believe. And we mentioned something very interesting. Right? Very interesting. And the Madani Surah, of course, is speaking, most of the Madani Surah has the rules, the ahkam of Sharia in it. In details. Talaq, al-zawaj, al-mirath, you name the rules. The punishment, all these rules, it is revealed to the Prophet ﷺ after the migration, of course, when we have a society. And you won't find in the Makki surah speaking about munafiqeen, hypocrites, because there were no hypocrites, either believers or mushrikeen, kafirin, disbelievers. Okay? So keep that in mind. So now you know that, okay, that is the second thing. So connect the name of the surah with the topic, go to the verses speaking about the name, then know the meaning, what is it all about, and then connect that with the name of the surah. And also, by knowing that it's Makki or Madani, that would give you an indication of what you expect of topics. Jamil. What else? In our methodology that we mentioned. Anyone remember? Asbab al-Nuzul. The reason of revelation. If there's an incident happened that caused that revelation to happen, then we should know what is that. We should read it. We should know it. In Al Imran, what do we mentioned? What do we said that one of from the beginning of the surah until maybe 80 something verse, speaking about the delegation of Najran, the Christians who came to the Prophet ﷺ. There is an incident happened. You cannot just pass reading without knowing that there is a reason behind that. There is a story I have to know. You read it, then you go back to the surah. And that would actually clear more of understanding for you. What else? We need to know some, Arabic, the linguistic grammar and meanings. That part is really important in tafsir. It's really important because the language of the Quran is the Arabic language. And it has a lot of secrets, by the way. Very huge secrets. As a matter of fact, some of the tafsir based on the grammar and the language itself. It's all about language. You can say that's for Imam Ali. But al-balagha, he said al-balagha, nahu, sarf, all these things. Lata'if, these are the literature that we have. يعني عندنا في اللغة آداب. اللغة is the language is very what do we call it? Very rich actually in the meanings and in the components of the language itself. And that needs attention for those who are intended to start learning Quran. Then the Arabic language is really important. You cannot just pass without knowing at least the very basic rules. When you know the verb, when you know fi'l, fa'al, maf'ul bihi, these are why it's dhamma, not fatha, why it's kasra, why there is tanween here, why it's not, and what is the meaning of that, and what is the meaning of shadda, why we have shadda. These, you have to be familiar with the words themselves, and the indications that is embedded in these words and these vowels. It is really important. Okay? By knowing that, as you mentioned, tafsir like Tafsir al-Kashaf for Imam Zamakhshari, most of what is in it is actually language. He is getting and extracting the understanding from the rules of the language, because the language itself is rich to the point that the word itself has alternatives and it means something, maybe additional something. For example, we'll give an example. We have al-adu and we have al-jari. Huh? Al-adu or al-jari. Al-adu, not al-adu. Al-adu means running. Al-jari also means, in English, running. But in Arabic, there is a slight difference between al-adu and al-jari. And that has to do with the circumstances that surrounds the mechanism itself, the running itself. If it's too fast or if it's a little bit slower. And it has that meaning. And those who know the language very well, when they hear that, they know, like, we'll give you this. When we say in English sprint or run, there is a difference, right? Sprint means you're pushing the gas or you're pushing all your stamina and power to the max. But when we say run, it could be just a normal run. So, that is also from the methodology that we should know some of the rules of the language itself and the meaning of the language. أحرف الجر. It's a long story. These letters, في, إلى, من, عن, على, بي, في. These letters has a certain meanings. You're gonna be like, what? What are you talking about? It is so rich and deep. I'm telling you. And sometimes we use the word and we mean something different. Okay? We say, for example, Ihab Asad. Ihab Asad. And I'm going to give you an example that so you will recognize what I'm talking about. Ihab Asad. I'm saying Ihab is a lion. A lion? Ihab is a lion? He's not a lion. He's a human being. He's not a lion. But in Arabic, when we say Ihab Asad, That means I'm saying that his encouragement, he's strong like the lion. Metaphor. It's kind of metaphor. Description. We use a word for something. But when we say, I saw a lion, that's a lion. That's an animal. That's a different story. And so on and so forth. Ala is on or above. And sometimes it's a verb, sometimes it's pronoun. Okay? So, anyway, that is also from the methodology. From the methodology is to try and make some themes for the group of verses, not take a verse alone. A group of verses, take it together. It is just a reminder of our methodology as we are going quickly. I know that I took a lot of time, but it's important to keep in mind the methodology. Where today is starting Surah An-Nisa, Surah An-Nisa, women. The first beginning thing is Allah named the surah women. It gives you right away an indication of, do we have any surah called man? We don't have that. That means Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is recognizing women. So we have really to pay attention to what Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala wants to tell us. Allah is recognizing women for all what they are doing. For all what they are doing, either positive or negative. But Allah is actually recognizing them out of honoring them. Because it cannot be a name of a surah in the Quran that you recite until the day of judgment if it's not a praise. Allah is praising women for a lot of things. One of that is that they sacrifice. One of that is that the empathy that they have. It doesn't mean that men do not do that, but it means they have more than men in general in that. They can sacrifice more, they can put a lot of effort more, they can care more, and subhanAllah, just to be a mom or a mother, you know that what it means. You know that as a man, when you're married, you know what it means to be a father and a mother. And you know how the mothers put all their lives, times, their heart, their feelings, their emotionals. It's all for the whole family. They sacrificed it for the whole family. الأم مدرسة إذا أعددتها أعددت شعبا طيب الأعراق. Mom is everything. It's the main pillar of the house. Without the mother, everyone could be in the street, honestly. Even men themselves. Their lives will be miserable. Without our women, we lose a lot. We cannot continue living our lives without having that support emotionally. And I know. And some of you would say, just Sheikh, fikna minnak. Okay, that's fine. Stop. Enough, huh? Wallahi, it's not enough. It's not me. If Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is recognizing someone, Allah recognized elephant. Allah recognized ant. Allah recognized bees. You cannot just turn your eyes and close your ears saying that, oh, well, it's just a name. No, it's not just a name, wallahi. If it's in the Quran and Allah named it, that means it has a lot to do with us to recognize as well and to know what Allah Ta'ala wants us to know. Okay? An-Nisa. The name is An-Nisa. This is a Madani surah. Of course it's a Madani surah. As a matter of fact, the most of the long surahs, the biggest surahs are Madani. Baqarah is Madani. Al-Imran Madani. What about Nisa? Madani as well. Ma'idah, Madani as well. So you're gonna get into a lot of details. You're gonna figure out why it's Madani, because it has a lot of rules. And I'm gonna tell you one thing and I will end with that. One thing. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala started with two things in this surah. But first, the end of Surah Al-Imran is saying, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu isbiru. That is from the methodology, is to connect between the surahs, right? to get that connection. اصبروا وصابروا ورابطوا واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون. And then he said in the beginning of Surah An-Nisa, يا شيخ سعد, يا أيها الذين آمنوا واتقوا الله. ها يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. اتقوا الله الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. He started with addressing the believers of practicing taqwa. So one of the main themes of this surah is taqwa. Whoa. Ending with taqwa, starting with taqwa. And here Allah is telling us one thing. He brought something that has to do with taqwa. Why Allah Tabaraka is saying, اتقوا الله الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة. Allah is bringing the issue of the creation, created us from one soul, and Adam, and then وخلق منها زوجها, Eve. وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء, the children of Adam, all those until day of judgment. So Allah is bringing something very special here to remind us واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام, the kinship. Allah wants us to remind us of the rights of the kinship because He's going to get into the inheritance. So there is nothing constantly happen. No. It's from the beginning. Allah is giving you the introduction. I'm reminding you of taqwa, and the first men and women of this creation to remind you of the kinship that you have, because Allah is overseeing all of you. Inna Allah kana alaykum raqiba, watching over us. Right away, getting into the nisa, because women used to be oppressed in the society of Jahiliyyah. And until this day, there are a lot of women. They are oppressed. That's why Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, when He said, وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ وَآتُوا الْيَتَامَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ وَلَا تَبْذِلُوا الْخَبِيثَ وَالطَّيِّبَ وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدَقَاتِهِنَّ نِحْلًا. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is saying what? Brought the issue of orphans. Orphans, because that has to do with their moms and with their money, the inheritance. Not just that, Allah brought the issue of women in general, because they are been oppressed, and Allah wants us to fear Him and to practice taqwa and not to oppress them. With that said, we have a lot to say, inshallah, if Allah give us life in the coming sessions, about Surah An-Nisa, one of the very strong, deep surahs of the Quran that has a lot to do with our lives. Taqwa is almost in every single corner of this surah. For a reason, you will figure that out. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.